I've been on this minimalism and decluttering journey for about 2 years now, and it always surprises me how much stuff I still find to declutter. When my home starts giving me the ick, and it's annoying when I open a drawer looking for something, but it's too stuffed in there to find it, that's when I know it's time for a declutter. I will say it's getting easier now. It's not as massive of a task as it used to be when I first started tackling our home. It's not as overwhelming, and I feel like I'm getting better at making those decisions, because at the end of the day, clutter is just delayed decisions. So let's reset and declutter together. I'm gonna start with kids' clothes. This is my toddler's room, and she has outgrown a lot of her clothes, and it's also a season swap. So obviously we're in autumn now, it's getting chillier, so I took out all of her clothes basically, and I did a massive declutter of her wardrobe a few days ago, which I posted on Instagram as well. I'm just having another quick look to see if there are any items that came back from the wash that still needs to be decluttered, which I did find a few jumpers in here that she's outgrown. And the system I have with the kids, for my toddler, I basically keep about 7 items of each. Like, she's got 7 long sleeves, 7 short sleeves, 7 trousers, maybe 5 pajamas, and then maybe 5 layers, as in sweaters or hoodies, or just kind of a thicker layer on top. And then she's got 3 coats, like a fleecy, a raincoat, that kind of thing, a pair of rain trousers, and I'll put here a screenshot of roughly the list I use when I do kind of swap her wardrobe, and keep in mind the things that I need to buy for her. This is not like a super strict list that you have to follow, it's just a rough guideline, and I find that this works really well for us. It might depend, it might be more or less depending on your lifestyle, your needs. My toddler also goes to nursery, so she has to keep some items there so that they can change them, obviously. So we do have a few more items than we used to for her, but it kind of changes. It's not about strict numbers here, it's just about finding what works. But I find that we actually don't need that many clothes, so I decluttered quite a lot of her summer items and also just items she's outgrown, and I've already ordered quite a few items from Vinted for her, so these are all the new size for her that you see in here. Then I'm kind of doing a similar thing in my son's wardrobe, so he's got kind of a similar system, so maybe 7 t-shirts, 5 long sleeves, and then the thing that's different in his wardrobe is that he's also got his school uniform bits. So I did declutter a few tops that he's outgrown. I'm not sure if I really need to replace them because I feel like he still has quite a few in there, so we'll see how we go. I always find that it's so easy to add more to our wardrobes, or to the kids' clothes, so I don't feel the need to always fill the gaps really quickly. Have a feel for how this works for us, and then in time, if I feel like actually we constantly run out of t-shirts, then I can go and buy him more t-shirts. But that's just the system that has worked for us so far. So for kids' clothes, I got out of their wardrobes over 30 clothes, and then I'm also looking in my wardrobe quickly. I did a bit of a season swap at the beginning of September, and I feel like I kind of need to do another one because I did a bit more of a transitional one. September is not super cold here yet, but now that we're in October, it is getting colder, so I'm getting more of my thicker knitwear out. I'm putting away some lighter wash jeans that I tend to wear more in spring and summer. I'm also putting away some more linen shirts that I still wore in September, but I'm not wearing anymore that much, so those will go into storage. And I've got this white top that is from Urban Outfitters. I found it on Vinted I think maybe a few years ago. I really loved it at first, but then I did my digital wardrobe last year, and I realized since I did my digital wardrobe, I have worn it 0 times, and I've kept it in there because the thing that I like the most about it is the texture. I love that kind of waffle knit texture, so I'm gonna keep that in mind for future purchases. But the reason why I'm decluttering it is, for one, I'm not wearing it. I've worn it 0 times in the past year, and I was trying to figure out the reason why I'm not wearing it, because technically I love the way that it looks. So I challenged myself to wear it this week, and when I put it on in the morning, I put on an outfit with jeans, and I realized, okay, I like how it looks, but it's too big for me. I think it is oversized, but it's just way too oversized, and I'm not really, feeling like myself in it. And because it is so oversized, I feel like the V-neck comes very low as well, and when you're bending up and down with your toddler a lot, it just doesn't feel comfy. So I think that's probably why I don't wear it. So it's gonna go in my declutter pile because there's no point in keeping it. Taking my own advice here, if I'm not wearing it, it's probably for a reason, and there's no point in keeping it in my wardrobe, and someone else might actually get use out of this and really enjoy wearing it. So I'm just looking through a few more pieces here that I want to declutter, and then I have some boots that I'm gonna declutter, and these I love the look of them, and I've worn them so much. I've had them for years and years, and as you can see, the kind of leather on it is really like cracking up and starting to fall apart, and the sole of it as well. So it's time for these to go. I don't think there's anything I can do to salvage these anymore. Am I gonna replace them this winter? Maybe, I'm not sure. I'll have a thing. But if you do have any kind of waterproof boots that you really love, that are very comfy as well, then let me know in the comments, because I might be on the lookout for something like that. So in my wardrobe, I decluttered probably about 5 pieces here of clothing, and then the shoes, and I'm just kind of looking through my my items that I have under the bed. So just swapping. I have one basket that's for the autumn winter stuff that obviously I'm taking out now, that's why it's getting empty, and then I have one that's for spring and summer stuff that's full, because obviously I packed those away. And then the third one is my husband's, with just his clothes. Moving on downstairs, I'm gonna look in the living room for some papers, because I do know we have accumulated a few papers that we probably don't need to keep, and I find that it doesn't seem like much, but if you leave them there, it's gonna start piling up, it's gonna start to accumulate, and it will get to a point where it feels so overwhelming to start. So I'm looking through our papers. Basically, we have this one blue folder. We've got it labeled by name, so we've got a section for me, one for my husband, one for the kids, and then we've also got a separate folder for house stuff and things like that. And I did find quite a few papers in here that needed to be decluttered, that we no longer needed, like GP appointment letters and kids letters that we got from school or things like that, but they were like from last year or 2 years ago. Obviously I don't need them anymore, so I'm just decluttering those. And then I also went through the piano bench, because my kids tend to put some papers in there when they do coloring down here, and there were so many that just had a little scribble on, so I decluttered all of those. There were some things that they just no longer need, like from school from a while ago, so I just kind of streamlined in here, and overall I got rid of about 50 pieces of paper, which that was surprising to me, but yeah, paperwork can accumulate so much. It's like a constant influx, isn't it? Moving in the hallway, I just wanted to have a look through shoes, so I repurchased the white pair of trainers that I mentioned in a previous video. If you've watched that, I wasn't sure if I was gonna get these or get a different pair, but I ended up going with these because they've lasted me really well. The previous pair, I have worn them almost every single day for the past year or so. I don't know how long, but yeah, they were starting to fall apart, so I bought a new pair. They're Marks and Spencer's, so that's kind of my slim shoe. Then I have my chunky shoe, which is this New Balance pair of trainers. So those are the 2 trainers that I kind of wear on repeat and just alternate depending on the outfit. And then I have one pair that's a pair of running shoes. These are also New Balance. I find the New Balance very comfortable, that's why I kind of stuck with them. And I decluttered my old pair of running shoes, which were literally falling apart. So there are 3 pairs of shoes that I'm decluttering from my pile, and then I also decluttered about 4 kids' shoes that were here under the stairs. In this little cupboard, we keep a lot of random little items, kind of like the command center of the house, where you keep batteries and tape and screwdriver and measuring tape and labels for the kids' clothes, lint roller, reusable bags. All of those kinds of items live in here, and I decluttered from here about 4 kids' shoes that they have outgrown, and I had to repurchase a bigger size school shoes for my son, some new shoes for my daughter. They outgrow them so quickly, don't they? So those all had to go. And then I also decluttered some random little bits here and there. So overall, from the understairs cupboard, I think I took out about 10 things. Like there were some little boxes, and yeah, just random little items that accumulate in there, and I just reorganized it a little bit. And can you believe that huge bag of clothes that came out of basically my kids' wardrobe? And I'll tell you what, I've been putting off decluttering this little area of my TV unit. This is where I keep like the tech stuff, you know, my laptop, the charging station, and then I also have all of my camera gear and just kind of the equipment that I use for creating my content. And this can get out of hand so easily. So I was really in desperate need of a refresh and organize, and I've been putting it off for so long. And when I sat down to do it, it took me maybe 10 minutes. So yeah, it was so much quicker than I thought it would be. And now it feels so much better to open that area. I'm decluttering some cables I no longer need. And I also have some pieces of equipment that I no longer use. So I have some lights that actually stopped working. My husband tried to kind of like see if he could fix them, but he couldn't. So I think those will have to go to recycling. I've got a microphone that I'm going to declutter. I'm going to try to sell that one because it's still in great condition. So yeah, I just have 2 microphones and I don't really use that one anymore. So I'm decluttering that. There's no point in keeping it. Someone else can get use out of it. And I don't want to keep a lot of things just in case anymore. I also had some random boxes and things in here for some reason. So those all have to go as well. And you know what? I nearly decluttered the tripod, like the big tripod that you see here, because it got a bit broken. And actually, my husband, he's so handy. He fixed it. So it's not perfect, but it works. So I'm going to try to keep it longer and just kind of prolong its life for as long as possible. I used to be so quick to just declutter anything at the slightest, you know, sign of wear. And I'm just trying to keep things for longer, especially if they're useful, if I get use out of them. I'm just trying to, you know, try to fix it first before I get rid of it and get a new one. So that's what happened with the tripod. So I got rid of about 10 things, I think, in my like camera gear setup. And then we're moving on to kids' books. And I did this with my son, and he helped me kind of go through the books because I know some of them are important to him. So I wouldn't really want to, you know, get rid of anything that he really cares about. That's not the point of this. I want to be mindful of this. And, you know, just because I want to be a minimalist doesn't mean my kids necessarily, you know, feel the same way. Like they might want to keep more books or more toys. And for me, as long as it's a manageable amount and we can all, you know, stay on top of it, it's not overwhelming, it's not all over the floors, then that works perfect. So we have this kind of container, you know, this side of the Billy bookcase. That's where all the kids' books and some puzzles go, and their craft bits in those 2 baskets. So if this gets overflowing, we do go through it, and this is what's happening now. So we got rid of about 20 books, I would say, and we just put them on, I always want to say zip it. It's called World of Books now. And you just, obviously you can try to sell them and maybe get a higher price, which sometimes I do if it's like a special book, but for most books, I will just put them on there. And we got maybe £6, I think, for all the books that we sold there. You just scan the barcode and then put them all in the box and they come and collect it, and that's really great. And I gave the £6 to my son so he can put those in his little piggy bank. And I just checked, and I actually did a very similar video last year after this summer. I think there's just something about getting back into a routine in autumn that just feels so refreshing. So I feel so good getting those items out of my home and just kind of reorganizing certain areas. It makes our everyday life just a bit smoother, and that's what I really love about decluttering. If you need help with your declutter, by the way, I have a free decluttering checklist that can really give you some ideas on areas that you can tackle and how to get started. So that will be linked in the description box. I do hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you in my next video.